Well, so why don't we just dive right in then? How's that sound?
Sounds amazing.
Cool. Well, I tell you what, so listeners can get an idea of your day to day. Let's just start with that. What does your day entail with the work that you do currently?
So currently, I'm an energy coach, helping people to connect to the source within to live an abundant life. And my days include podcasts like that. They include some sessions where clients get to experience that abundance through energy work I do. And it includes some extra calls and integration sessions with the clients where they actually ground what they felt during the sessions in the material life to actually live it and to realize they can do anything they want from a place of love. And it includes some socializing. Right now I'm in south of France and I'm enjoying Cannes Festival. I'm enjoying Grand Prix in Monte Carlo. And that also a part of work, work and life for me right now, they are just merged, they are combined, and I'm enjoying every second of that.
Well, that is awesome. You are clearly walking the walk and talking the talk for sure. That's awesome. I love it when you talk about how work and work and life merge.
Yeah, work life. Life is work, work is life. Everything is together. Work for me right now is so enjoyable that I don't feel it's work,
Right. Has it always been that way, or was there ever a time when you were like, this
great question.
stinks?
Great question. I was in finance for 15 years. I started my finance career back in Russia, grew to manage 900 branches around the country, and then moved to the US to get my MBA degree. And after I graduated, I joined the company that provided training for the global companies such as Goldman Sachs, McKinsey, BCG, JP Morgan, Amazon, and so on and so forth. And I was providing finance training. On top of that, I created my own startup, raised money in Silicon Valley, and sold my startup last year. I was also in real estate in one of the most luxurious places in the world, the Hamptons, helping my ex-husband with his business. So doing everything simultaneously. On top of that, I was decorating my 5-bedroom house in the Hamptons, which is what. And now when I think about those times when I did it all, I'm like, boy, how did I do it all? But I was very driven, excited about what was happening in my life. Right. And it was amazing. At some point, I did burn out though, because I realized that something is missing in my life. I was so driven to build an American dream. And when I got it, when I was living it, I felt that something is missing. And that something was, I was living somebody else's American dream, not mine. So, and that is actually, that's what makes you burned out, when you go for something that is not your true desires. And after I realized that, I changed my life completely, and I'm doing something I truly love with all my being.
Oh, that is phenomenal. And I love hearing your the joy in your voice, because I am the exact same way. And I think finance is like a stepping stone to enlightenment and passion, living a passionate life. I worked for Fidelity Investments for 11 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have many similarities in life.
Yeah, absolutely. What's so funny, I say that because you're probably the fifth person I've interviewed in the past month that said, yeah, I started off in finance and real estate, and I did all this. And then much like your story, much like my story, just like, yeah, this really doesn't have any passion for me. I'm like, I don't know why I'm here. And thankfully, because of my meditation practice, I just said, okay, you know what? I don't know what's coming, but it's got to be better than this. So, and it was.
At the same time, it's important to appreciate all stages of your life.
Absolutely.
There are people that, went straight to spiritual world without a good material background in material life, some accomplishments. And I see they're struggling as well. And I realized that this material life that I built for myself in many different ways helped me. It was like a foundation for my spiritual growth.
Right.
And after all that experience, I can combine both and live this spiritual abundance in material world because I know both so well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it takes some distance for us to be able to look back. Obviously when you're in the thick of things, obviously for you, you were going like 20 miles an hour every day. So you probably didn't have a lot of time to stop and think about it. But obviously now that you are in the south of France and life is a lot more manageable and a lot calmer, I'm sure you're like, you know what? It served its purpose, much to your point.
I wouldn't say that. It's very every day right now feels like eternity, like a whole complete life. So on one side, it is different. It's not as much hustle as before, but
Right.
on the other side, it's so deep. Like I feel it so fully that it's worth it. On the
Maybe
other
it's your
side.
energy, maybe it's the way you're describing it, but I feel the difference between the two. There's just a passion and a fullness to your life now, it seems. And while that may have been missing before, that was kind of filled up by hustle and bustle and striving and achieving. So clearly you have arrived at where you're supposed to.
Absolutely, Tom. And I feel you probably realized the same on your path, that it's not about the amount of hustle you do. It's about very precise actions, very few
Right.
of them, that make the best result in your life.
Exactly. And it's wonderful to have the veil lifted, as I say. I've been meditating for over 40 years, but even when I was meditating while I was working at Fidelity, but my practice has changed, and much to what we're talking about, there's just like, you kind of going through the motions and you're like, okay, cool. This is it. This is it. This is life. And then, like you say, 10 years down the road, you look back, I'm like, well, that wasn't it, but it was a step, just like you said, it was a step to getting here. So, and you have to be aware of all those things. And when you're
it's an eternal path. While we're alive, it's always steps. It's about the path itself. So
exactly.
I'm not into it.
Yeah. And I'm thankful for absolutely everything that brought me here, because if
Absolutely.
one of those things didn't happen, I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be meeting wonderful people like you. I wouldn't be smiling as broadly as I do when I wake up in the morning. So yeah, absolutely. Everything happens the way it's supposed to.
I feel you. Yeah.
Right. So let's talk about, if you do have one. I have a feeling you do, but and no worries if you don't. Your meditation practice. Are you currently a meditator?
It's interesting. I live in a meditative state right now.
Nice.
And the work I do with my clients and the intention I put in every second of my being is very meditative. So
Right.
if before I separated meditation and life,
Many people do.
you know what I mean? Now I don't. Just life is the main spiritual practice for me. It's about how I approach every situation in life.
Nice.
So it's a lot for me about applying, not a meditation is here and then I walk out of it and behave like I did before with my destructive patterns. For me, it's about applying it in every single situation in my life. So.
Exactly. And I love how you put that, because many times when I started learning how to meditate, or when I learned how to meditate when I was 18, which was a couple of years ago, it was just it was like, cool. I'd meditate like usually Saturday afternoon, I'd meditate, and that was it. And then I'd go back to my to work, to school, to play with my friends, and that was it. But now, even though I do have a seated practice, like when I'm out in the day, it just seems like my meditation has followed me and it's merged. If I'm interacting with people, I'm like not just talking to them, I'm feeling them, I'm gauging their energy, they're gauging mine. And it's just such a wonderful way to go through life. It's a lot less fraught with panic, that's for sure, and like anxiety. It's good that we've integrated the two.
Absolutely. And also, I love the view. I have an apartment in Miami with a breathtaking view and sunsets. I have an apartment in Cannes with a breathtaking view on sunsets and mountains and marina. So for me, a cup of coffee in the morning, just looking at the beautiful view. I don't have to close my eyes. I don't have to take a specific position. I create a quality of life where it is already meditative.
Exactly.
Just walking on the beach, talking with people I love.
It's so awesome to talk with somebody who has been through a journey, not like a perilous or like hardship, but just to know that like there's something else. And I think that's one of the things that many listeners will get from our talk today, just to understand that you're never stuck. And maybe we weren't stuck per se, but it definitely wasn't calling to us. So it's wonderful to talk to people like you and myself, so people understand that like no matter how life seems right now, it can change, and it can change with a thought. It can change with your energy, and it's just the game's not over till it's over, and it's never over.
And yeah, absolutely, it's a choice. You can always make a choice for a change. And many people are stuck because of fears. But when you live from the place of love, it's easy. It's really
Right.
And it's easy to make that choice to live from a place of love. Fears make you stuck, make you freeze in life.
Absolutely.
So choose love consciously. There's lots of uncertainty coming with it, but you still choose love and trust and faith in yourself as a creator of your own life. Then everything unfolds just magically.
And it's amazing too, because as you come from love, those questions that you don't have answers to, they don't seem as paralyzing as they were before. You know what I mean? Like for me right now, I'm a spiritual guy, not really a religious guy, but I'm a spiritual guy. And I just like, I don't know, but universe, you've got my back all the time. You've had my back since day one. You're not going to let me down just because my conscious brain can't comprehend what's going on right now. I know something's going on that's going to lead me to where I need to be. So thanks.
That's about trust. Absolutely. Yes.
Well, so going from the hectic pace that you had to now, like, how did your path open up? Meaning like, okay, so you knew that banking, real estate, all that wasn't for you, but what pointed you to what you're doing now?
It was for me, don't get me
Right.
wrong, at that period of time.
Exactly.
At some point, it wasn't anymore.
Right, right. Did you, so what opened your eyes to see the work that you're doing now, the energy work that you're doing, and all the things you're doing now? Did something happen to say, yeah, I think that's where I want to be?
Yeah, as well as you, I did lots of practices and meditations and many different many types of internal work, during my life journey.
Right.
And that as well, it always takes an internal switch to make an external change. So
Right.
I came from a poor USSR family to building my American dream. It was a lot of shifts every time I would expand.
Right.
And at some point when I had what many people call an American dream, at some point I was living it already with businesses, cars, houses, family, and everything. But exactly then, when I wasn't busy building it, it was already there for me. I felt that something is missing, and I was called to do ayahuasca. It's many people already know what it is. It's a medicine that brings you to an altered state of mind where you remember you're not just this body, you're not just identification of what you thought you are, a finance person, a wife, whatever it is, a mother. You are much bigger than that.
Right.
And that reminded me that that reminded me of the path back to my true self. And I started to, after the first ayahuasca, I've done it 2.5 years ago, I started to search for more and more answers. I was so dedicated. I changed my life. I moved from New York to Miami and started to dig even deeper into spiritual realm, trying to find all answers that I was looking for. And till you find it, you don't really know what you're looking for, but I was so committed, 24/7. And last summer, I lived through what many would call oneness, when you become one with the world, and it's only through experience you can get fully what it is. When you become one with the world and you remember that you are God within, you are the universe within, you are the creator of everything. Not you as your ego or me as Tatiana, but something bigger inside me.
Right.
And it's for every single person on earth. So when you remember that, you remember that you create the any limitations are created only with your mind. But when you trust something bigger than your mind, something that inside each one of you,
Right.
and you create from that place, it's a place of love and a complete, total freedom. Freedom from fears, freedom from suffering. It's just an amazing state of being from which everything is possible. And I wish everyone to get to that state. So when you get it yourself, you cannot not share it with the world. You want
Yep.
everyone to feel it. And that's why it's my life mission right now. And that's what I do for people. People literally live through that state in my sessions. They remember who they truly are, and their life changes completely because they remember that infinite abundance, and that they actually have a conscious choice to bring it in their life. And then
I love it.
choice to be happy. Oops.
Yeah, exactly. I'm smiling ear to ear because I fully get it. I'm the exact same way. That's why I teach meditation, to help people take that inward journey, because that connection is just so palpable. Like when I feel it in my meditations, and I feel it all the time, but it's deeper in my meditations. But like I can't keep this to myself. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
such joy. I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And
Absolutely. I'm so happy that you're doing it. I'm
well,
grateful.
thank you. Right back at you. I love the fact that we're on a similar mission in different ways, that we're
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
helping the world wake up. And it's just, for me, well, it sounds like it's the same for you. Nothing has ever been clearer in my life. And I've had a lot of jobs. I've, like, whether it be finance, whether it be psychology, travel, hotel travel administration, like graphic design, everything. Just kept looking. Now I wake up and it's just like, yeah, this is just another beautiful day doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Oh my
And it
God. And
couldn't be
it's such
clearer.
a great feeling, right? It's just, you can't compare it with anything in life. It's just
No, you really can't. I mean,
such,
I always
so
like,
motivating to live that.
yeah, absolutely. It just surges through every cell of my being, and it's wonderful.
Amazing.
Does that mean every day is perfect? No, but it's a lot more perfect than it was, for sure. And I have that
Anyway,
connection.
it's not about perfection. It's about authenticity.
Yeah,
Being
absolutely. And just like
willing
total
to know
acceptance.
everything. Yeah. Evolving through experiences. Whatever.
Exactly. Did anybody outside looking into your life would be like, when you decided to make the switch, how many people were like, are you crazy? You've got it all.
A lot, including myself.
Yeah, right.
Because I remember, so I realized that I cannot live like I lived before, but I don't know yet how to live
Right.
differently. So it was a jump, and I had to talk to my ex-husband because I was leaving to find myself.
Right.
I didn't know at the time what I was looking for myself, but
Right.
at the time I couldn't understand what's happening fully and completely. I just knew that I cannot live like before. So I had to talk to my ex-husband. It was like a week of conversation. It was a surprise for him as much as for me, truly.
Right.
And then I packed my stuff, just some clothes and just right. I left everything, the car, everything. And I just rented a car to go from New York to Miami. So I'm driving from New York to Miami with all my stuff, not that many, like several suitcases, that's it.
Right.
And I'm driving, like crying like crazy. And my mind was like, yo, are you crazy? You have it all. You have a house, you have business, you have family. Like, what are you doing? And my soul was just drive. Everything will be all right. And it was. And
That's awesome.
I never been happy in my life. Happy, but now. And it's interesting that the further you go with that love and trust and intuition, the happier and more free you become. There's no end to it.
And it's wonderful too to have just a certainty. And a certainty of uncertainty, meaning like, just like I was talking about earlier.
Uncertainty, I love that. Exactly that. It's exactly that. There's
Where it's
so
like,
much,
I don't know what's going on.
magic in uncertainty.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
absolutely.
Mhm.
So was there a long gap between the knowing that that life was kind of over and not really knowing? Like, was it a week, couple months? Was it a year where you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I can't do that. You know what I mean? Waiting for that
Yeah,
time to the
well,
light to shine.
I made that switch from like, moving from New York to Miami very quickly. And then it
Right,
was a search for myself, a very like deep search for myself.
right,
Um, so it took me around 2 years to live through one as a result of it.
nice.
Last year. And then after that, but I already started to help clients on the way because
Right,
I was already doing life coaching, theta healing, like Reiki, started to do energy work little by little. But after I lived through oneness and realized what every single person on earth, no exception, is looking for. Everyone is looking for love, but
yep.
in the wrong places. They're looking for love somewhere externally, where it is right here. And I know how to bring people to that place. And when and again, I can talk about that for forever, but unless you live through that state, you don't know. So I know how with energy work to bring people to that state, to remind them. And
Oh, now that's a wonderful gift. And I totally understand what you're saying, because if we think about it from a societal level, I mean, the word love gets bandied about so many ways. There's like love for your family, love for a significant other, love for your pets, and it's love, but it's not love, if you know what I'm talking about. Meaning that,
absolutely, yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
it's a word to describe something that's indescribable. But to your point, when it courses through you, when it's the basis of every,
You have to
you
feel
totally feel it. And it resonates so strongly too. Like whenever we make a decision that comes from love, that comes from our soul and our intuition, whether we understand it consciously or not, we feel it. And I know you get it, obviously, because it's the very nature of the work that you do. But it is just so liberating, because it's such a compass. There's such a guidance. It's like, if you ever have a question, or if you ever at a point where you're like, what do I do? Just, I mean, obviously, as a meditator, I say turn inwardly, because that's where you'll find that love, where you'll find that connection to all life, to love, and it just sets you free. And I know you and I are proud people are like, oh, you two, you're like friggin' Pollyannas, the two of you. But I'm like, until you experience it, it's just incomprehensible. I'm sure you feel the same way.
Yeah, you have to experience it to understand that it takes a lot, like total, complete, undeniable love for yourself to love the whole world.
And it's difficult at times, but not impossible, because our ego and our humanist kind of tries to say, no, you're not really living the real life. And like, no, you're not the real life.
That's interesting, because my clients that go through that state, and they're like, okay, so 99% of people live differently, like I'm in a different reality, and I'm explaining that's the real reality. And what most of the people are living is an illusion. Because it's an illusion. It's an illusion of your mind. When there are fears, well, by now I just don't choose them. It's that
Right.
simple. But with steps, right? So before I would face them and go through them and they disappear. That means it's an illusion.
Yeah, exactly. It was
Yeah.
so funny when I was growing up, and listeners are probably going to get sick of me here say this, but my mom used to say that all the time. And when I was younger too, like when I was like 10 years old, I'd be, or like even like 12, 16, I'd be getting all wrapped up about some drama in high school or just college. And my mom would just say, sweetheart, relax. It's just an illusion. It's just an
Oh,
illusion.
wow. Your mom got it, huh?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, she was incredibly progressive. I mean, this was back in 1982. She's like,
Wow.
and I used to think she was crazy. I'm like, and
Wow.
I loved her, obviously, but I'm like, what are you talking about, woman? It's an illusion. I'm like, no, this is real. This is happening right now.
I feel it, right?
Exactly.
Wow.
And
I
she'd
have
say,
actually, yeah, very strong connection to my mom as well. And she's a huge part of my path as well. She was Alzheimer for over 12 years. And it's a long time. Most of Alzheimer's live around 7. It's like the most of years they live. But it was 12 years. And she stopped recognizing me 5 years ago. And that was a point where it was shocking. It was painful at the time. I didn't know how else to take it. And that exactly brought me to spirituality even deeper, because I wanted to communicate with my mom, but I couldn't do it in a physical reality. So I started to search for different ways. And I found them on my path. And then it was the most beautiful event. I know it sounds crazy for most of people, but
not at all.
this year, my mom passed away. And it was one of the most beautiful events of my life because I lived through it so differently. I realized that all this journey was kind of like we did it together. It's difficult to explain. I lived through oneness with my mom, and I went through all the stages of her passing away, and it was actually liberation, especially after such a long disease. It was lots of physical suffering for
Right.
her to liberate herself and me with her, because lots of my knowledge and power in a good way, internal power, what I can do now for people to open them up to life,
Right.
came with her passing away. It was incredible experience, and I'm so grateful for her. Like I feel her in me all the time. All the time. She's there for me to bring even more knowledge and more freedom and love, so I can share it with the world.
I love hearing your story, and thank you so much for sharing it with you. It resonated with me 100%. My mom's been gone about 7 years now, and she was in poor health for about 1.5 years. But same thing. It's just like you know, when she passed, I was unaware that I could converse with her, talk to her, feel her. I'm like, well, wherever she is, she's there now. And then it was like 1.5 years later in a meditation that she came to me. And then I'm like, and I thought, I'm like, okay, I really want to hear your voice. So that must be it. And she was there to say, do you think that you're speaking with me? I'm like, I do. She's like, you are. She's like, I can't explain it. She's like, I could try. And she has tried several times, but she's like, it's not important. She's like, we're here. She's like, we're in different places, but the gist of what I'm saying is that I totally understand what you're saying, because
You have no idea how many goosebumps is coming from you when you're telling me that story. And goosebumps is a confirmation always. Like
yeah,
it's that truth. It's that truth.
yeah, exactly. Because like I said, when I first heard her in my meditation, I'm like, well, obviously I want to feel comforted, or I just miss her. And it was just, as you know, just different. And I'm like, I don't need to put an explanation to this. This is what I'm experiencing. I know this is here, and I hear her every day, and I feel her in every fiber of my being. And even though she's tried to explain how it is, she's like, sweetheart, don't worry about it. We're here, and that's all that matters.
And I want to add to that every experience in your life, every single one of experiences in your life is there for you to meet your true self,
Right.
especially the death of your loved ones. When
Right.
you can bury yourself in grief and regrets and pain and suffering, there's no answer. Answers are not there. But
Right.
when you embrace, when you see that that is another side of love, and you just see it from a different perspective, and that death is just another transition from life, as important as birth, they're equally important and they're equally beautiful.
Mm.
When you learn to see that, it's just really get it. You really got life.
Yeah. Well, my mom was in hospice for about 1.5 years, and we were all with her when she passed away. And, since we have the ability to talk, she said, she's like, I had already died, even though my body had not died. She's like, I saw you guys all there. And she's like, I couldn't have asked for anything better. And now that we talk, she's like, everything is better because I'm gone. And originally I would have like broken down and crying. I'm like, I totally get it. I totally get it. I'm like, you're free of pain. I'm closer now than I ever have been. I mean, I've always been close to my dad, but now we're like best friends. And it's like, she's like, sweetheart, everything happens just the way it's supposed to. She's like, I knew when I was gonna go.
Mom is unbelievable. She really lived a
Yeah.
deep life and deeply in awareness. Like I can feel it. That's incredible.
Well, yeah, and to that point, I mean, she was so progressive, because the things that we talk about now,
Yeah, it was
she
a
was talking
different
about like 40
times.
years ago.
Yeah, incredible.
Oh man. Now the work that you do, is it more focused on energy as a gateway for abundance, not just prosperity, but abundance of love, of health? Or is it energy work that helps people kind of get through some of the tough times that they're challenged with, that's manifesting in their body, in their energy? Is it, so do you focus on one, or does the energy work encompass a broader perspective?
The energy, I work with the energy of life and love,
Nice.
and that heals everything. And my focus is on people becoming free of suffering. And
Nice.
again, that means free from physical and emotional pain.
Mhm.
And the best way to do that is to connect people back to their true nature. That heals everything. So that's my focus. When the client comes to me, I already see them free and abundant in love, health, wealth, everything.
That's
And I bring them, because I see them this way, and I bring that energy already in them. That's what happens. Of course, many people have already a very serious path before coming to my sessions, but
right.
in my private sessions right now, at the moment, in my private sessions, every single client connected to their true nature, every single one of them. And it's an incredible feeling to live through for me as well.
Oh, I can
Every
imagine.
time I'm reliving that with my clients. It's so liberating and so beautiful, and it's just brings a completely different quality of life to people, because it heals. When you heal yourself in energetic level, you live out of place of love, it heals your physical body as well. And it just you realize there are no limitations in life. So, and that anything that happens is for you. It's just a different quality of life, different perspective on life. It exists. The life without suffering exists. I'm living it, and I'm bringing people to that state.
And it's so true. I love how you're talking about, and I could definitely feel it while you're talking about it, how just how full life is when you help somebody understand the fullness of their life, and help peel the veil of humanness, of ego, and just understand and connect to love in just the purest, most beautiful way. It's like, and much to like you pointed out earlier, like everything brought us to where we're supposed to be, whether it be amassing cars, houses. I'm like, that's all great, but it's just, it too is an illusion. the
Absolutely. It's a beautiful illusion. You know, it's funny. I have Tesla in Miami and Mercedes here, and I love the combination. And every time I come to my Mercedes, I'm so grateful. It makes me comfortable. It brings me to places, and it's not about a car as a, something,
like a
how
status symbol or
yes, it's comfortable. I love it. Thank you for the illusion. I love to live it. That's
yeah. I created a really neat illusion. This is awesome.
exactly that. And it makes me happy. That's it. It's about a feeling. When I buy, I don't know, some expensive jewelry or anything, too expensive and beautiful, it's not about the thing itself, it's about my emotions
Yeah.
around that. That's
The energy that changes with that. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's, correct me if I'm wrong, it transcends a physical dopamine hit, or, you know what I mean? Like many people buy things and don't have that same feeling, meaning like they get a mental, like, cool, I bought something great. Now I'm happy. And then all those chemicals start to fade and they're like, oh, crap. Whereas if you're buying things for a different level, appreciating them on a different level.
being grateful every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Have you
Yeah.
ever had somebody, I would imagine if people come to you, they're already kind of on their path, so to speak, to understanding. But have you ever had somebody that was kind of on the path, but like was still kind of fighting to hold on to the illusion?
Yes, yes. My mentorship client, and that's why I told him right away that it won't take one session for him. It was, a set of sessions, mentorship.
Right.
And for these clients, I use, in addition to just energy work, I use NLP techniques, because what it does, basically, NLP is neuro-linguistic programming, and 99% of people are working and behaving out of patterns and programs.
Right.
So what I do in my NLP technique, and it's my own already by now, it's just a combination, my own techniques that I developed, but the roots of it is from NLP, where I show the client, like I literally can erase the fear during the session, and the client is like, what? I don't feel it. Like, how's it even possible? Or, all these internal voices that are fighting with, within you. I remember them. I don't
Right.
have that now, but I remember how it is. So many people are walking around with this internal fight all the time, and it's so draining. It's not your husband or kids or work that drains you. It's that internal fight.
Right.
So you connect to your true nature, like all voices become just one. And with NLP practices, it's called sub-personality, and different voices in your head. So I show different sub-personalities of the person. We define them with NLP practice, and then we define this
The core.
main core voice of true self. And I show how to see each voice of each sub-personality. Well, basically, each one of them are calling for your true one voice, but you might not recognize it yet. So I show how to see it differently from different perspective, and how to hear those voices, not as destructive ones,
Right.
but voices that help you to connect you back to yourself. And that helps people, because energy, you just feel things. And here I connect the energy with mind, showing how to literally choose different perspectives in life, and how to choose to live out of state of freedom, internal freedom and authenticity. And then after that, it's a responsibility of the client to actually live it, change the habits, change their reactions in the moment, and live it. You cannot say, I don't know anymore. Like I bring it to conscious.
Right.
And then
Right.
the client can choose, right, to live like that, or to be in a victim mode continue to be in the victim mode, because there are lots of advantages in the victim mode, and some people just choose that. But you know, everyone is different, and by showing how consciously you can choose living through freedom, I open a completely new doors for my clients.
It must be exciting to have somebody show up at your door and not know which you're going to get. Somebody who's kind of further along on the path, and you're like, and you're just doing your work, and it's kind of just like a kind of tweak, and then it all becomes clear. And then the people that you're like, you have to put it on the NLP layer. I'm like, okay, they're not there yet, so I gotta push them just a little bit to get them where they need to be.
Push, but connect.
But just guide
what they feel with how they think, because so it works in harmony,
right?
Separately. Otherwise, minds start fighting. Like the mind doesn't understand what's going on and start fighting with whatever energetic state is there, because it's new, it's unknown, and
Right.
the mind does not like unknown.
Mine just don't like unknown.
Love it.
Oh, that is awesome. That is awesome. I could go on talking to you forever.
Likewise. I'm really enjoying the conversation today, Thom.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too.
Feel what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and the exact same thing. I'm like, obviously, when I get on with a variety of guests, they're all wonderful, but I feel that you know what I'm talking about without words, and vice versa. So it's wonderful to talk to somebody where you really don't need to talk. Well, as we close up on our hour, I like to keep things under an hour so that listeners can get back to some other stuff. But how do people go about availing themselves to your work, to the things that you're doing right now? How do they keep up with you?
So I have a website, tatianaflow.com, and Instagram page, tatianaflow, _flow. And there I always announce my online group energy events. I do group events as well. And for private sessions, I have all the contacts there to reach me out and arrange a session or arrange a mentorship, depending on, you know, how connected you are, where you are in life in the moment. And I offer free 30 minutes calls before the private session, because it's expensive. I charge 5,000 at the moment for one session, and 15,000 for 1 month mentorship. So of course the client needs to feel more than just my website, more than my Instagram page. So of course we meet personally beforehand. We talk about intention. I tell them what kind of work I'm doing, how it's working, and then we arrange, a session if it's a fit for both of us.
Right. Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, stay on the line. We're going to say goodbye to listeners